Hello ladies, welcome to your Monday morning Zoom workout with me, Nicole. We're going to do some hamstring curls.
We'll begin in 60 seconds. Please proceed to a station.
And welcome to the first day of March. Welcome to the first day of this week. My goodness. Welcome to the first month of spring, technically. Good, keeping that core nice and tight, little tiny hinge forward. Today is a day of new beginnings. We are doing our first day of indoors today after a long, cold, lonely winter, as the Beatles said. Palms facing up, let's add a little row, squeeze. Very nice. So quick reminder, there are some changes in the schedule today. We do not have our stretch. All right, so if you're here and you're like, man, I thought I was going to be able to stretch after this. You still can. There is a reason we had a general sort of structure so that you could take those stretches and do them on your own time. So I will remind you again at the end of our session. Also, just a quick note, I do have a client right after our session today, so sadly, I will not be able to come up and say hello the same way I usually do. I'm going to have to rush off. But I'll just tell you, I love you now. Good. And let's add 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring both feet down. We're going to come up on the toes, hands up, and we're going to go right, left into a boxer shuffle. And let's double time. We go 1, 2. So today's workout is going to be
begin set
a
2.
stability ball workout. But the thing is, I realize that not everybody owns a stability ball. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to show you the exercise with no stability ball first. And then I will show you the exercise with the stability ball at the end of the first set. Okay? So if you are not using a stability ball today, please pay close attention to the first set because that's going to be your set all the way through.
Stop exercise.
Beautiful. Let's pick up that boxer shuffle just a little bit more. If you're getting a little bit of a bounce through your ankles, knees and hips are nice and soft, hands are up. And if you want to, you can add just the tiniest bit of air. 1, 2, 1,
begin
2.
set 3.
Good. And let's add a jab. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. And honestly, the coordination doesn't matter that much here. If you're going to the right and punching with your right or left, meh, as long as you're moving. Good. Beautiful. So they say, by the beginning of March,
exercise.
most people will have given up their New Year's resolutions. Totally understandable. I am myself am not a fan of New Year's resolutions in general. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your feet come to stillness.
4.
Just the hands. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice quick jabs. However, if you still want to fulfill a goal, March can be a really great time to assess. So if you sort of dropped something, is there a way for you to tweak it to make it more attainable? Or for you to tweak your attitude around it? Maybe give yourself a little bit more compassion so that it doesn't feel so devastating when you quote unquote slip up. Spring.
Stop exercise.
It's a great time to
switch
reassess.
to the next station.
All right, we're going to go into a wall sit. Just a wall sit for set 1. So I'm going to use the pole here. Back against the pole, walk those feet forward, come down, making sure that your feet are far enough forward so that your knees can stay stacked on top of or behind your ankles and the weight is in your heels. Very simple. However, if you own a stability ball, get ready because you are going to use it at the end of this set. For everyone, You want to come down low enough that it's challenging, but that your knees can tolerate it nicely. So essentially, want to make sure that we're getting some burn here, but these are happy. Which means if you can come down a little farther,
Stop
then you
exercise.
should do so. But let's go ahead and take a break. All right, this is going to be fun. I'm going to figure out how to do this with the stability ball in this particular context. But if you have a stability ball, it's going to go behind your back. Okay, I'm going to turn on a slight angle, or rather, no. Right behind your back, walk your feet forward, and come down into a wall sit. So, get rid of that mat. Good, sink your hips down and hold. So now we're holding our wall sit on an unstable surface. We're not moving. We're not coming up and down, we're not pulsing. Just like you ladies who don't have a stability ball. Everybody,
Stop
just hold it.
exercise.
Good, and then drive through the heels, come on up. But with the unstable surface, and you will find this is the case for a lot of the moves we're doing today, it does make it harder. Here's the thing about a stability wall sit though. A lot of people
Begin set
lean
3.
too far back against the wall and their pelvis ends up rolling forward so that they're leaning back like this. It's really important that you keep your spine nice and stacked. Good, just hold. Weight in those heels. Spine is stacked, you're not arching over the ball, you're not caving in your upper body. Your tailbone is pointing straight down and your core is nice and tight. Weight stays in your heels. Good.
Stop
And then
exercise.
drive on up. Phew, beautiful. Just realized I don't know where my water bottle is. All right, set 3. Or rather set 4, pardon me. I'm going to challenge everyone
Begin set 4.
to try to come down just a little bit farther than where they were before, whether you were on the ball or on the wall. Weight is in the heels. Back is flat, no matter who you are. Belly button is pulled in, no matter who you are. And you're breathing also, no matter who you are. Whew, come down a little farther if you can, if you can, if you can. It burns, it burns, it burns, it burns. And breathe.
Stop exercise
Gorgeous.
and switch to the
Come on
next
up.
station.
Excellent, ladies. The stability ball to the side for the moment. Set 1. A plank on your elbows and toes.
Begin set 1.
So, going over a proper plank. Tailbone is tucked. Back is nice and flat. Hips are right in line. Your hip bones are trying to meet your rib bones and vice versa. Glutes are squeezed. Very good. Beautiful, ladies, and hold, hold, hold. Driving the elbows down into the floor.
Stop exercise.
Excellent. Drop your knees. Give yourself child's pose. If you have a stability ball, elbows are going to go right on top of said stability ball. Now here's the thing with the stability ball plank. A lot of times you'll see people
Begin
rest
set
their
2.
chest on it like this. It is important that you have space between your chest and the ball, that your elbows are still directly underneath the shoulders, your hips are still right in line. Everything is nearly exactly the same except you're on the stability ball. Whew. So it's harder, especially for the shoulders. Shoulders are doing a lot of work to keep you stable. Good.
Stop exercise.
Excellent. Take a break. Very, very nice. Now, a plank where you're on the floor is tougher for your core and possibly your lower back than an elevated plank. But even though we're elevated, we are
Begin
now
set 3.
unstable. So we're essentially countering easiness we're getting from being higher with the hardness of not having a stable surface to rest the elbows on. Now, if you want to, you can do fun stuff here. You can use your elbows to stir the pot in a little circle, but notice my body is moving. If you want to keep it simpler, you can use your elbows to move the ball forward and back by an inch, very small. Very good. Now, if you want something even more challenging, if you're like feeling super strong and super balanced today, one more possible progression. Watch it first before you attempt. Feet flat on top of the ball, elbows are down. Keep your tailbone tucked. This is an advanced move, ladies. Not going to be right for everybody. If you try this and you find you keep falling off, don't worry about doing it. Just go back to elbows on the ball or on the floor. And at the end of this set, ladies, we're going to put the stability ball aside and turn over onto our back.
Stop exercise and switch to the next station.
All right, over onto our back, we're going into a marching bridge. Now this is a bridge where you keep your hips high and you pick one knee up at a time. So you kind of want to keep your feet a little bit closer together. Keep your hips really stable, very still, one foot and then the other. You want to go slow, especially on the way down. You do not want hard landings here, no jolting in the body. You want to make sure that you're really feeling the work on the supporting hamstring as that other leg comes up. That's why we take kind of a slow pace here so that you get time on each leg.
Stop exercise.
Good. Now if you have a stability ball, this is going to be a little bit of a change. Your calves are going to be right on top of the stability ball. Right here. Hips are up. Hold. Your hips are going to stay exactly where they are as you bend your knees and pull the ball into your butt. Do your best here to keep your knees and your toes fairly aligned. A lot of times my toes will want to turn out and it can feel kind of funky on my knees. Now, if you're trying this and you feel any weirdness in your knees or your back, go back to the marching bridges, please. Nice and slow in each direction. And every time you straighten your legs,
stop exercise.
You squeeze your glutes. Now, if you don't have a stability ball and you're doing your marches, the same principle applies every time you put your foot back down. You squeeze your glutes. It's a nice reset, a little bit of a recalibration to remind your body of exactly what it's doing. Good. Now, if you want this a little bit more challenging, the more calf is on the ball, the easier this is going to be. So right now, most of my calf is on the ball. If I move the ball a little bit farther away from me, so that it's just kind of like the lower half of my calf or my ankle, less stable, and I have more distance to travel because there's more space between the ball and my butt. So you can come all the way in. Ooh, mama. And squeeze the glutes.
Stop exercise.
Excellent. Take your breaks. Now, if you're using a ball, you can kind of roll the ball in and just really gently use that to support bringing your knees into your chest. If you don't have a stability ball, you just bring the knees in. Take a little break. All right.
Begin set 4.
Set 4. One final progression. This is advanced. When you bring the ball in, notice my hips are staying at the same level throughout. This time, I'm going to pick my hips up as the ball comes in so that there's, you see how much of a hinge there is here? Now I'm going to do the more advanced version. There's going to be less of a hinge. Oh, it has been a while since I have done these. You can tell I cannot get as much height in my hips as I used to.
Stop exercise and switch to the next station.
Good. All right, ladies, let's put the stability ball aside for the moment. We're going to grab our hand weights. And we're going to do a seated bicep curl. So if you have a chair or a bench,
Begin set 1.
you'll take a seat. Sitting up nice and tall, all the way up and all the way down. Pretty simple. But here we are focusing on the biceps themselves. So you just want to make sure that you're going at a pace that's going to challenge you. I recommend a hammer style bicep curl on this particular one because notice if I go into an open palm, it tends to scrape my thighs. It's just a little awkward.
Stop. Exercise.
Gorgeous. For those who have a stability ball, you're going to sit on the stability ball. So come over here. Now, for this guy, the weights are going to hit the ball a little bit. Your
Begin
job
set 2.
is to keep the weights from bouncing off the face of the ball. We don't want that. So if you like, you can tap the ball and come all the way back up. Why does this one matter? We're just sitting on a stability ball. Well, that little bit of instability, if you really focus in on your hips and your core, notice how you have to make small adjustments as the weight moves through space. Even if it's almost imperceptible,
Stop. Exercise.
those little adjustments going to be working a little extra layer of work for your core and your lower back. Now, if you want this to be more challenging and you're on a stability ball, you just bring your feet all the way together. You notice this is a more
Begin
narrow
set 3.
base of support. And you also notice I'm wobbling just a little bit more. I'm kind of rocking back and forth in my hips. So you do want to make sure that your spine is stacked. A lot of times, again, with the stability ball, people kind of lean back. Keep your tailbone pointing straight down. You're up high on your sit bones. Spine is stacked, core is tight. This is true if you are on the bench or on the ball. Good. And whether you're on the bench or on the ball, you're going to squeeze your abs. You're going to squeeze them hard, and then you're going to take a break. Nice work. All right, get ready for set 4. We're at the end of set 4, pardon me. We are going to go into a chest press. If you don't have a stability ball,
Begin set
you'll do
4.
it lying on the ground or on a bench. Very simple. However, I'm going to go straight into the stability ball version because I'm seated here already. So seated, and I will show you how to transition from a seated position into a lying position on a stability ball. A lot of times, women will try to get up from the floor onto the stability ball, and I'll show you how not to do
Stop.
it.
Exercise and switch to the
All right,
next.
so a lot of times I'll see this. Women will kind of try to hoist themselves onto the ball. Much easier way. You sit on the ball, and then you walk your feet forward until you're lying on the ball.
Begin set 1.
You want your head and your upper back and chest to be right on top of the ball here. If you don't have a stability ball, you're going to do your chest presses lying on the mat. I'm going to reposition myself so you can see me just a little bit better. Sideways. You sit on the ball. Roll. Good. So, we have a chest press. Chest press, no matter who you are. Weight is going to be centered just
Stop.
over the sternum.
Exercise.
Your elbows are going to come out to a 90-degree position and then press back up. Or if your shoulders are sensitive, try a narrow chest press here. All the same things that you're used to with a chest press.
Begin
If you're on a
set 2.
stability ball, you want to make sure that your head is supported. If the ball is too far down and your head is looking up, that's not ideal. You want your head to rest on the ball and your eyes to be up toward the ceiling. Now the biggest difference here is going to be that your hips are not supported as they would be if you were on the floor or on a bench. So instead of just letting your hips drop, you're going to press through your heels, pinch your glutes, pick your hips up.
Stop exercise.
If you're doing this on the floor, you can do the same. You're essentially holding a bridge while you do a chest press. But in this context, the ball is wobbly underneath you. You have to
Begin
keep the
set
glutes
3.
squeezed to keep that height in your hips so your back is nice and flat. And you have to keep your core nice and tight. Good. Now, of course, because the ball is round, it's a little bit harder to determine where your elbow should stop. A lot of women are going to go past 90 degrees. I only recommend doing that if your shoulders are real healthy and the weight is fairly light. However, if you have like heavier weight, like 10s, stop at 90 degrees.
Exercise.
Good, I'm going to take a little break here. So to take a break, all I do is I walk my feet back. The ball will very naturally roll down my back until it's supported my butt a little bit more. And then I'm just going to keep my eyes forward.
Begin set 4.
There we go. Walk those feet forward again until the ball is underneath my head. And press. Excellent. At the end of set 4, ladies, everyone is going to lie down on the floor on their back. Put the stability ball aside for the moment, and we'll add it back in at the end of set 1. Pinch that booty, pick those hips up. Woo.
Stop exercise and
Gorgeous. All right, so to come out of this again, fairly simple. Keep the weights close to the body, walk the feet back until you're able to sit up all the way, and then put the weights to the side. You're not going to need them for this next exercise at all. Good. Stability ball, head to the side.
Begin set 1.
Lying down on your back, we're going to begin with a dead bug. So, dead bug should be fairly familiar to everyone. Knees are about 90 degrees, arms are pointed up to the ceiling. Full extension of your right arm and your left leg. All the way out, bring them all the way back up, and then switch to the other side. Extend, and then pull all the way back. Very good. Lower back should be nice and
Stop
flat.
exercise.
Excellent. So, for those ladies who do not have a stability ball, you will keep going with this. If your back gets tired, you can absolutely do this with one foot on the floor. Return to the floor before the other one goes.
Begin set 2.
For those ladies who have a ball, you're going to begin with your feet on the floor, and you're going to press your arms hard against the ball. Notice the pressure right here. You're going to extend your limbs away from the ball, then all the way back to center. Now the squeeze against the ball should be plenty of ab work already, right here. All the pressure in your hands should be coming from your abs,
exercise.
squeezing like an accordion, bringing your rib cage down, which brings the arms down, okay? So this is level 1 with your feet on the floor. If you'd like it a little bit more challenging, you can do pretty much what we were doing in set 1.
Begin set 3.
But here's the thing on this one. If you're going to do a dead ball with the bug and your legs up in the air, it is really important that the knee that stays pressed against the ball stays on top of or inside of your hip joint, meaning that your legs should not be existing out here. That is really hard on the lower back. So if you have a ball, that ball should be right in front of your face. So if you notice the ball starts to get down towards your belly button,
Stop exercise.
pull those knees in, the ball's gonna be right over your nose, okay? Let's go ahead and take a little break. Rock, rock, rock from left to left. Very good. One more set here. So,
Begin set
no
4.
matter who you are, with or without a ball, you can can either do your dead bug with your feet on the floor, or do your dead bug with your feet in the air, knees at 90 degrees. Big inhale, and exhale as you pull that knee all the way in, squeeze. Very good, ladies. Keep that back nice and flat.
Stop exercise and switch to the next
Beautiful.
station.
All right, let's go ahead and put the ball to the side. Oof. Very good. We're gonna go ahead and grab our hand weights, tricep skull crushers. Palms up. You're going to keep those elbows right on top of your shoulders and bring those weights down towards your ears. Oof. Can you hear that? Very good. Beautiful, ladies. Keep that core nice and tight. Good. So here, make a judgment call if you need to do one weight in both hands, keep it a little bit lighter. Sometimes for me, I get kind of weird
exercise
elbows on this one, so I can't go down quite as deep. All right, how are we going to throw the stability ball into this one? Simply by placing it underneath our calves and trying to hold a bridge.
Begin set 2.
While we tricep. So this takes a lot of stability. Butt is squeezed, abs are tight. Those elbows are right over the shoulders. Your hips are not up too high. A lot of times people think they need to get a lot of height, but when your legs are straight like this, I don't want you trying to get your pubic bone to the ceiling. Just neutral is fine. And then you're pinching your butt cheeks together hard. So we're getting even more glute work here, which is good.
Stop exercise.
Whew. If you've been diagnosed by a physical therapist as someone who has overactive glutes, then you do not need to do this one. If you want to just rest your heels on top of the ball,
Begin
that might be
set
nice
3
for your lower back. However, my guess is that many people have underactive glutes because we've been sitting like a lot. And when we sit, our hip flexors get tight and shortened. Our glutes get long and weak. So when we get extra glute work in, we are reminding ourselves to reactivate our glutes. Sometimes it goes so far
Stop
that
exercise.
people call it dead butt syndrome. Good, drop your hips. Take a little break, elbows to the mat. Beautiful. Good, ladies. We are nearly there.
Begin set 4.
Beautiful. Just a quick reminder that I do have a client right after this, so I am going to have to end the meeting quickly. So I will love you my kisses now. Mwah. I hope your butt is burning. Oof, I hope your triceps are on fire, and do not forget to stretch after this, ladies. Used to be a 45-minute class. If you allot even 10 minutes to yourself to stretch, you're going to do your body a big old favor.
Stop exercise.
Ooh,
Your training is
it's
now complete.
Excellent work, ladies. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.